When the LAN Explorer first powers up, it lets the user choose which port they want to run testing on, the RJ45 port, the Wi-Fi port, or the optical port. All three of these options are available with the Pro model. The Pro model features a touch screen which you can use to select the port you want to test with. We'll immediately go into the Detect mode to detect what connections are present. At this point, hit F4 for setup. Then we have the system configuration, the auto test configuration, the unit's IP configuration, the RJ45 port configuration, VLAN or virtual LAN configuration, Wi-Fi and optical configuration. Go into System, where you can set up the owner, job, and various other preferences. Whenever there's a text field, you can type in the field or push Enter to open that dialog box and type in the name. With the touchscreen version, you can either use the screen or the keypad to navigate. With the keypad, you just drive around your cursor and use the Enter key to select the characters. Press OK when finished. When you're finished with your changes, you press Apply. The LAN Explorer has onboard memory for up to 30 job folders, with 250 tests per folder. That means you can store a total of 7,500 tests. To create a new job, you push Options and select New. At a minimum, you must type the cable prefix and the job name. The address and contact name is optional. When you create a new job, it automatically becomes the default job shown at the top of the screen. Currently, the job that will be used to store test is a CCTV job. To activate a different job for stored tests, navigate to the job with the arrow keys. Push Options, then select Activate. Now the current job that we'll be saving test to is Acme Distribution. Language selection, backlight preference, auto off, backlight timer, key beep, and unit of measurement can all be selected on this screen. Configuration allows you to save the configuration of the LAN Explorer to a USB drive and then load that configuration back into the LAN Explorer later. You can make your date and time settings with this menu. Firmware is updated via USB drive. About information tells you which version of the LAN Explorer software you have. And lastly, Restore Factory Defaults, which completely clears the memory and restores the LAN Explorer to its like-new condition. Configuring unit tests. Go into the Setup screen. Select Tests here. You can select the wire test preferences, IP tests, targets for ping and trace route tests, and the auto test preferences. In wire tests, you can choose your wire map configuration, the cable type, all the category types, and all pair 4 tests. You're merely selecting what is listed in your saved test documentation. There are also tests for USOC, Universal Service Order Code, for telephone tests, industrial and M12 cable types, coax, using an RJ45 to coax adapter, 2-pair Ethernet, shielded and unshielded, and 2-pair Ethernet with the 1278 pair combination. You can choose your wire map color code, 568A, B, USOC, or Terra, or none, which is black and white. X-over allowed means that a crossover cable will be identified and will pass the wire map test. Custom NVP lets you specify the NVP for each test. Hit Apply to save the changes. Tone Generator lets you select which tone type and which pins the tone is sent out on. For IP tests, you can set the configuration for ping, traceroute, and other tests. You choose the target, the number of packets, the delay between packets, and the packet size. For traceroute, you choose the target, the maximum number of hops, the maximum time out before the test is ended, and the type of payload. For PoE, you can select PoE or PoE Plus and the minimum power to pass the test for PoE and PoE Plus. For NetMap, you are choosing your range to scan, either the local subnet or wide subnets. You can also select a custom IP subnet range. For NetVerify, you choose what the base NetMap is to test against. Loopback mode allows the LAN Explorer to be used as a loopback device for other throughput testers, and you select which type of packet to loop back. Voice over IP mode lets you choose the TCP port and the limits for quality of service tests. To configure the auto tests, you have two modes, cable mode and endpoint mode. These checkboxes let you determine which tests are run when you press the auto test button in either mode. Lastly, targets lets you specify which IP addresses are going to be used for ping and traceroute tests. You can use either URL domain names or IP addresses. To add a new target address, you'll push Add, type in the address, then press OK. To run a wire map test, choose the RJ45 port. Plug one end of your cable into the left side of the LAN Explorer. Plug the other end of the cable into the remote terminator. Remote number 1 is included with all LAN Explorers. Remote numbers 2 through 12 are optional. In this case, the remote has been identified as remote number 1, although the wire map test has not yet been run. Go to the test screen to run the test. Choose Wire Map, then press Run. The wire map uses a TDR to measure the length of the cable and provide distance to fault information. In this case, the cable is good, 85 feet long. The remote also has a pass-fail indicator to tell you if the auto test has passed, failed, or if there is voltage detected on the line. You can save the auto test by pushing the Save key. You can change the wire map configuration by pushing Setup. In this case, I'll change my color code to TIA 568B, push Apply, and I can rerun the test, and you'll see the wire map code change to the 568B configuration. To reveal top 10 talkers, select the test port, in this case RJ45. The unit will detect the configuration. It's in the endpoint mode, with the cable plugged into the left RJ45 port and the other end to a LAN port. Once the unit has connected to the network, you will get a summary screen of the link speed, the negotiation status, PoE status, and the IP address that has been assigned to the LAN Explorer if DHCP is enabled. Go to the test screen, select Top 10. Immediately, you will see the top 10 devices talking on the network. The default setting is a 1-second average. Pushing F4 will let you change between 1-second or 30-second averages or peak. You can view by IP address or by protocol. You can also view any errors on the network. Pushing the Reset button resets the averaging, so if there are any network configuration changes, pushing Reset will clear the averaging and let you see the effect of any network configuration changes.